Did it snow or flurried yesterday at your place?
Yeah. Good of the weather, we might have perhaps up to 2 inches tonight. Too.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, that I didn't know. Oof. Okay, it's December. It should stop a little bit. At least now we should have some snow.
Yeah, we're almost to real winter. It's 9:30.
Anyone online yet?
No, Cynthia was gonna be online, but just said she'd come in. She'll be a little late though. Nobody else said anything.
Let's wait if you want.
Good morning.
Oh.
Hey.
Hi. Just texted you and Catherine.
Oh, yeah. I always park at 9:30 and it takes me about 45 minutes to get up, seems like.
45 minutes?
Oh, 4 to 5.
Oh, 4
minutes.
to 5. I said 45 minutes, where did you park?
Right.
First thing we need to do actually is go through the procurement quiz.
Yeah.
And we'll finish up HR and then we'll start our review session.
Oh, we still have to do it. I forgot about that. We already started HR, right? We have to finish HR. We have to start 9.2, yes. How is your prep going on?
Sorry?
How is your preparation going on?
It's going. And
Did you schedule your exam or anything yet?
I did not, but I did get signed up.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking in January,
Mm-hmm.
after the holidays. Would be good, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will be out of town for a week this month, so I'm like, might have to take my book there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not a bad idea.
I don't know how much time I will get to read, but I'm thinking that way.
It's true. With holidays and traveling, it makes it more difficult.
And you're meeting people for a few days, you don't want to keep studying, like
Right.
you stay up late and talk. Let's see. Okay.
Should we go to the procurement list? All right, well, let's do it. Rhonda, you want to do the first one?
Yeah, which of the following terms, it's a C client?
The does not refer to a seller.
See, contract versus seller, so you're doing lump sum. So I forgot about this, I'll be honest.
Whoops.
I did.
You can read the question then probably.
Yes. Contract versus seller, lump sum. I'm not sure. A,
You see, reimbursed
B.
actual cost is going to be a cost plus type.
fixed for B.
D.
Actually, it's going to be D.
Oh, okay.
It's cost plus fixed fee contract. So they're adding this lump sum in for a profit, but they're going to get paid their actual costs too.
Okay,
Yeah, it's the
Actual costs, think of actual costs like cost plus.
okay,
They got to get to put in all their costs in there.
okay.
Number 3,
Yeah. Number 3 is B.
buyer has the most risk when using a fixed price incentive.
Ah,
Actually, buyers have the least risk with fixed price.
buyers.
Buyers, the buyer
Oh.
has least risk with fixed price.
Was. Is the most risk is
So of the 2 cost pluses, it's going to end up being C, cost plus fixed fee.
Oh, well, we just did it above. Okay, so that's a lump sum.
cost plus fixed fee, meaning they will give the cost plus.
Plus a fixed fee on top. Cost plus incentive fee is the one where if they finish early and we make, save some money, we'll split the difference with them. So we'll get the product early or the service early. But we'll also split the benefit of finishing early. That's usually something like an 80-20 thing. We'll give you 20% of whatever we saved.
Incentive is the extra benefit when they finish early, right?
Yeah. Or a negative one if they finish late.
Oh,
But I know in our example, most of the time they just talk about it, they finish early. What we do. Number 4,
An agreement that is based on fixed unit cost, rate, and variable quantity of units.
cost rate.
I don't know.
C. I have written C.
yeah, it's timing materials. We've got, fixed price, so much per square foot of flooring. You don't know exactly how many units we're gonna need though.
Who benefit from early completion of a firm fixed price? Who benefit early completion? Seller. I wrote it seller.
Well, both.
I was thinking that, but then I said,
Yeah, seller finishes, say, 3 days early, they get to go do other work, and they get that amount they were paid. We get the product or service from 3 days early. So
but there's no monetary kind of benefit to buyer. That's why I was thinking maybe it's
it
only.
might be, they could do 3 days of work with something else. They
So
finish
it has
early.
to be buyer and seller?
Yeah, it's buyer and seller, both benefit.
Okay.
Finishing early usually benefits both sides, whether it's a fixed price or a cost plus. So we get the stuff early, and then they can go do other work.
Okay.
Okay, who is harmed the least by late completion of a cost plus fixed fee contract?
Leased by the lead.
The seller?
He's correct.
Which of the following is not an output of a planned procurement management? Teaming agreements?
Yep, that's correct. C is correct.
Pyramid statement of work includes all of the following except. C?
We normally put our policies into statement of work.
Number 9, seller risk rank from highest to lowest. This was tough. I have to find the graph for it, but I wrote it C.
Yeah, C is correct.
But
It's
that's
fixed prices first, time and materials in the middle, and cost plus one fee or fixed
so
fee.
for seller, highest to lowest is fixed price. Seller highest is fixed price. Okay, yes.
So seller risk. Okay, so buyer risk went from highest to lowest.
So if they put time and materials at the end, you can kind of cross off B and D because they're out of order. The time and materials is that middle kind of thing.
It has to be minimum most of it.
So it gets down to A and C.
Okay.
I always get confused with this cost plus firm fixed and firm
Yeah.
fixed.
Would it be A?
Yeah, it's A. Yeah, C doesn't work either because fixed price are first, but those are least risky. It's not the
Cost
highest
plus
risk.
fixed price is the actual cost decided plus
Negative.
instant, no, plus what?
Plus a fixed fee.
Plus fixed. And firm fixed is then what?
FFP,
Uh-huh.
firm fixed price or fixed price.
No extra benefit in there?
I pay you $2,000 to do some work. That's it. Whether you finish in 10 days or 12 days, you get 2,000.
Cost plus is okay, how much cost plus extra 300 or 400, right?
You can have those fixed fees with either kind of contract. But in cost plus, it's more variable because they can keep adding cost to it. That's why fixed fee contracts are better for the buyer, but not so good for the seller because if they finish late, they still get the same amount of money even though they're late. And if they're late, neither of us are happy because then we didn't get the stuff, the services or products when we thought we would. So we're not happy about that either. I adjust our schedule. Number 11,
Is it-
request for proposal,
Is it me?
RFP.
Sorry. Request RFP document is an output of A.
And procurement management.
Once the procurement statement of work has been approved, it cannot be changed without a formal contract amendment.
This is a quirky one.
Yes, because approved meaning signed or just approved, so that's,
Yeah, because procurement statement of work is put together a long time before we actually sign contracts.
right.
And so this statement is actually false because of a quirky way they worded it. Rita talks about this on page 469 and Pimbach also on 367 and 374. Basically, the statement of work could change up until we sign the contract, and then we would need formal contract amendments to
First
change
I
it after
thought of true because it says it has been approved. For me, approved meaning signed kind of
Right.
thing.
that. Yeah,
What's the PMP pages again?
367, 374.
Okay.
Conduct procurement tool and technique that provide meeting between buyer and seller to ensure prospective seller have a clear and common understanding of the procurement requirement. Bidder conference.
Yeah, bidder conferences.
Okay.
What is this weighing system? I couldn't find that.
It's a made-up term.
Okay. Internet search weighing system. I couldn't find any of the.
Might be true if you're working out at a sports center or something like that.
Oh, right.
I mean, weighing there are in the application we have, but what about this procurement thing? I couldn't find it in the book, so
Yeah, and you will run into made-up terms in some of these.
very
Questions?
bad. As such, we are confused and they confuse us more.
Yeah. Hey, we don't need that.
The seller's plant caught on fire and will not be able to deliver the contracted parts on time. The buyer's project manager should.
I just guessed.
D.
Yeah, D is probably the best to do first. They might end up doing A also
Yeah,
after it, but first let's
yeah.
evaluate what's going on here.
I wrote A. So A won't be
A
good.
is a good second thing to do. First, we should look at, there are different ways we can work this out. Other contractor or supplier, if it's not on the critical path, will it fit in? So we've got to do some evaluation there to figure out, how bad this is going to affect us.
Yeah, but PMBOK or PMI wants to evaluate first before notifying the management.
We need to understand everything.
The
More like
second-
understanding first before we start communicating back out to others. And notify management's kind of vague too. What management? Senior management? Functional management?
Okay. PMO office.
Yeah.
The seller identified a defect in his product batches and is making corrections. This will cause product to be delivered 1 week late. This will delay the project completion by 1 day. Project manager should. Okay, again, I have written notify management, which may know, number C, but I'm not sure about
They
that.
actually went with B. Let's work with the seller, see if they can pull it in by 1 day. Because it's only going to be 1 day late
Right.
for our schedule or for the project. So we can work with them and pull it in somehow, save 1 day. It's probably the best thing to
Sue,
do.
reassign, board with seller. Yeah, because usually management wants to know immediately if there is any change, so that's why I keep writing that.
Mhm.
But you're right, notify which management, it's not clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
16, control procurements includes application of the following project management processes within the contractual relationship, except A,
Managed project team, which we're about to get to in the HR section.
had a lot of choices.
Yeah.
It has
What you, again, in
six
the actual exam, you're looking at 4 choices.
Okay.
Our quizzes sometimes have 5 or in this case 6, but that's kind of unusual.
With this one, I couldn't even guess, I don't know why. Where is the reference for this one? Do you have?
Unilateral contract's a one-way contract. I'm gonna,
No, not 17, I'm talking about 16.
16?
Yeah, what's the reference page? Because I couldn't even guess this
Well, it
one.
was, I have slide 160, but I'm not sure if that's.
Slide 160,
Pinbach talks about this on 386.
386, okay.
I think it's, well, that might be a 1, I'm not sure, 381 or 386.
Okay.
Can't remember right.
Okay.
Well,
Number 17?
Managed project team, though, is not a procurement related thing.
Except, okay. Because direct and managed project work is also not procurement related.
Oh, yeah, in a contract, that contractor is gonna manage their work like a project.
Control procurement, okay, yes. Number 17, unilateral is a purchase order. Number C,
Yep, purchase order is correct.
do you want me to read the question? Tiffany,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. I read it already.
Oh.
Thank you. Which of the following is true about procurement documents? All of the above?
All of the above. I was gonna say, it's almost one of those cheerleader questions. Yeah.
Number 19, which of the following is a method for comparing an in-house or outside party cost calculation to the seller's bid price as a reasonability check? It's a C, independent estimates.
That's correct.
Again, weighing system I couldn't find. Screening.
Which of the following are outputs of the conduct procurement process? Outputs. I would say all of the above.
Yeah, it's all the above again.
Well, I didn't see.
I didn't see procurement contract award
Right.
in the output or
But I
anything.
knew that 2 of them were, so
Yeah,
that's why.
2 were right for
Yeah.
sure. The third one, I didn't find that in any of the,
And conduct procurements, we're choosing our sellers and awarding contracts. I think that was,
award, yeah, that, in the book listing of output, nowhere it is mentioned. So do you have a page or anything? Because in Film Book
looking at
371,
our slides.
I didn't see this MITS book. I checked Rita
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Film Book.
I didn't bring my or-
Film Book 371 shows us output, but it doesn't give me procurement
Well,
contract.
it's on 377, because I got that marked down as reference.
No, 371?
Can you look at 377?
Film Book or Rita?
Yeah, Pinbach.
Okay, 1 second. Right on 371. 377 you said? Yes, I'm on conduct procurement output. Selected seller agreements, resource calendar.
Selected seller agreements, that's a contract.
Yeah.
And then our slides, it's on 217.
I don't see that word here anywhere.
Oh, I thought you were reading it in there.
Yeah, I was reading but it has only selected seller agreements.
That's a contract.
Yeah, but not on procurement contract award. It says awards.
We're selecting our sellers and we're making agreements. And what are agreements? Contracts.
But it says contract awards. That's why. Is there a prize, award, that kind of thing I'm thinking.
Oh, no, it's just talking about we've got a contract.
Or is the meaning of that is just getting
Agreements and
contract?
contracts are used more synonymously here.
But it says contract awards. I'm getting confused with the word award. Award or awards, right?
Well,
As
awarding
something prize kind
No,
of.
we're not talking about prices, we're awarding a contract. So it means we're assigning the contract or selecting sellers and agreeing on that they'll do the work and signing the contract.
That's what I'm confused with, because it has capital award or award, I thought it's a prize kind of thing, so.
No.
That's not that, right?
No.
Yeah. Award meaning just signing of the contract.
Yeah. 21.
Okay, one second. Which of the following are example? Indirect cost. I got it C. Overhead cost.
Overhead cost is good, but they also said that salaries of corporate executives would be considered overhead too.
Why is it indirect? Corporate executive involved will have a direct impact, right? I didn't understand why corporate executive will be overhead.
Usually they're not directly involved. Or CEO or chief financial officer.
Executive include only those level, not below them.
Sorry.
These corporate executive are only CEO and CIO level.
I think it's
C executive.
C-level kinds of things.
That's what it mentioned here. Okay.
So that was A and C?
Or answer D in this case. No, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
No, it is there.
Yeah. Okay, 22. Which of the following are tools and techniques of the closed procurement process? D, all of the above.
All the above is correct.
Again, the one I don't know. The cost plus incentive fee contract has an estimated cost of this with a predefined fixed fee of this and a buyer sale ratio of 80-20. The actual cost of the project is 130. How much profit does the seller earn? I couldn't calculate this, sorry.
This is one where, okay, they're gonna get 15,000. That's built into it. And then we're doing an 80-20 split of any benefit of finishing for less. So it was gonna cost 150. It actually cost 130, which means there's 20,000 that we're gonna benefit. Now we're gonna split it with the 80-20 relationship. We're gonna give them 20% of that. So 20% of that would be 4,000. So what they're gonna make is the 15,000 plus the 4,000 or 19,000.
Okay, I didn't understand that. You added 150 and 130, why?
I subtracted, this was the original plan, this is what it actually cost.
Mm-hmm.
So we saved 20,000.
Oh, we saved 20,000 and then they split into 80-20.
Yeah, and they split it in 80-20 ratio. We're keeping 80, giving them 20%. So it's 20% of the 20,000, be 4,000. And they've already built in that 15,000, so they're going to make 19,000 out of it. Adding those two together.
80-20. 80-20 ratio to 20% of 20,000.
That's a good example of an incentive.
So you found 20% how? 20 into 20?
It gave us a ratio of 80-20 in there.
Uh-huh.
we're gonna keep 80%, they're getting 20%.
80% of 20,000 you calculated, right?
20% of 20,000 for the seller. We're keeping the rest, so that means we're keeping 16,000 on that property.
It's 40,000. No, 4,000, not 40,000.
Morning. Rita has an example of that, by the way, on page 480 in PMP prep.
480 you said?
Yeah.
480 later. So we found, okay, just by doing 4,000 for seller, and then we will have 16,000.
Yeah, that doesn't have to say anything about that though. Just ask for the
Oh,
seller.
seller, okay, 4,000. And how did you come with 19? Because 15,000 is the fee,
Yeah.
so you added 15.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you.
20, so that was B, right, 19?
Yes.
Okay, 24, which type of procurement document is used to request prices for common or standard items? C?
Yeah, request for quote.
Should I do it?
Yeah.
Which of the following are characteristic of a purchase order? B?
Yeah, unilateral,
Mhm.
another way of saying purchase order.
What do you guys answer?
We're doing the procurement quiz.
Okay.
Do you get a chance to work on that?
26.
Good me, 26.
All of the above?
Yep.
Number 27. Output of control procurement includes the work performance information, change request, payment schedule and request, correspondence, project document updates, update to the project management plan. False.
No, it's true. MITS talks about this 384 to 386.
379, and the output of control procurement doesn't give me all these things.
384.
See, these are the outputs.
Yeah, look on 384.
384.
382. So work performance information, change requests, project management updates, document updates.
Yeah. But what about update to the project management?
Basically, plan.
Why did I write false here? Work performance information, change of project document updates.
Keith, what question was that and what
That's,
was the answer?
That's number 27, that's true.
So I should have written true, but by mistake must have wrong. Because I have written the reference also here, the page number.
28, in PMBOK, the project procurement management processes are discussed from the perspective of the blank in the project. A, the buyer. Both.
Buyer and seller, I try to emphasize that. It's always the buyer and seller. Now, as far as the exam goes, we are usually going to be the buyers. But they're always talking about buyers and sellers.
See, confusing a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, you're right. In exam, it will be only buyer, but here.
Well, no, it won't be only buyer unless
No,
if they.
We are buyer in the
We will
exam.
be buyers unless they state otherwise in the exam. Sometimes they'll talk about us providing something for a client and then we'd be the sellers. But it should be pretty clear in there.
And here it's asking about PMBOK.
In PMBOK and in our slides, we talk about buyers and sellers all over the place. Our risks for buyers and sellers. So it's always talking about buyers and sellers.
So in every question, unless otherwise stated, we are the buyer.
Yeah. Usually, most of the questions are going to be, we're getting something from an outside group, contract, service, product, something. That's usually pretty clear on those, I think. 29.
Is Catherine ready or should I do?
Your turn anyway.
29. Outputs of closed procurement do not include procurement audits.
That's correct. Catherine, you want to jump in or?
No, I'm still looking for my test, I'm sorry.
Okay. Did I put a hard copy in that set of
I have a
stuff?
copy of it, there you go. I'm sorry.
Tiffany, 30?
You have received a proposal against a RFP that was sent to vendors. One of the vendors has indicated that they can do the project for $12,500. The cost of the project is $10,000 and their profit will be $2,500. Which type of the contract is most suitable to be used in this situation? C?
And see, they're doing it for 12,500. They're telling us they're actually building in their profit. That's a specific amount. They say we can do it for 12,500. So that's a fixed fee type contract.
I'm getting confused with these type of
So
contracts.
then it's B, just
Yeah.
fixed price.
What was 29? Sorry.
29 was E, procurement audits.
Okay, so if they, although the project we know is 10,000 and their
They're building their
Profit.
profit, which you'd almost think it was like a fixed fee in a way.
okay,
But they said, they didn't say they could do it for unlimited amounts.
okay.
Cost plus is always gonna be that thing they could increase.
Oh, unlimited.
So
Okay.
since this is a fixed amount, we'll do it for 12,500. It's gonna be a fixed price.
Okay,
And it's vendor telling us that they can do. We are not telling them.
They're telling us that. I mean, apparently we had the idea too, it was gonna cost 10,000. If we agree on that contract, we're agreeing that we're gonna pay them 12,500. Guess we got a good working relationship with them, they would tell you what they're building in for that kind of stuff. Still fixed though. This is 12,500.
Can I go in now?
30. Oh, you want to?
No, go ahead.
Brad Nestor.
From the seller's point of view, procurement is considered closed when final payment is made.
Wish I had the reference on this, but it's, they went with B, archives, administrative closure requirements are stated in the contract are all completed. But all four of those are, I think, good answers, and they're all gonna happen in closing.
For me, it's only when I get paid.
right.
Yeah,
That's when it is closed.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's open because they pay in like 45 days later, 60 days later. So till then.
Hey, Catherine, you wanna do next?
Sure. While completing work for the project, the seller subcontractor suffers a major fire. The fire destroys the heating system they were building for your project. What's the best thing to do? A?
These answers, they actually went with B, you know, be prepared to extend the delivery due date. They had a fire, can't produce it.
I selected A and C. Now they went with B. Come on. 33.
4 stakeholders have noted that major change is required on the contract. A project manager is documenting the change request when he receives a call from the seller informing him the seller's supplier has notified them of a price increase effective the next day. The seller is therefore asking for the change to become official right away. Generally, the project manager should
This is sort of a level of authority kind of thing, which they didn't describe really well in this question, I don't think. But what they went with was actually C.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Is that what you think? Great.
I wrote C also.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
okay,
selected
good.
C. Signed by the procurement manager.
Got another math problem coming up.
Or is it me again?
Yeah, it's you.
Again, that math.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have not selected anything. You are trying to decide whether to lease or buy on an item for your project. The daily lease cost is $150. The investment cost to purchase the item is $2,000, and the daily cost is $50. In how many days will the lease cost lease costs be the same as the purchase cost? I didn't understand. They have given 150 also and then 50 also. What's the difference?
They gave two things. They gave a lease or a cost or purchase. So we're either purchasing it or we're leasing it.
Daily cost means what? Purchase cost? Because they have given daily cost also. What is that?
So it's going to cost 150 a day if we lease it.
Right.
And it's going to cost 2,000
If we buy.
plus $50 a day.
Why is this 2,000 plus $50?
Because it says 2,000 plus a daily cost of 50.
Yeah, when we are purchasing, then why is it still we are?
There's still some service cost in there or something. So that's what they told us. So to find out how many days it's actually going to take until two prices would be equal, or how many days until it would be equal, it's just kind of an algebra problem. So I would take away 50 days from each side. So 100 days would be 2,000. And I would divide that out, and that'll come out to be 20. That's why I say it's an algebra problem. I was going to be a math major. I didn't become a math major. But. So we lease it, it's 150 a day. If we buy it, it's going to be 2,000 up front, and then we're going to have to still pay 50 a day. But it's telling us in that question.
How did it come out to be 20? It's divided by 100?
Yeah.
So,
How did you get 100 though?
Well, originally I had 150 equals 2,000 plus 50, so I subtracted 50 from each side. So I took 50 off of here, and 50 off of here.
So now it's just.
So then it's just 100 days equals 2,000. It's just a matter of dividing both sides by 100 to come up with the 20.
but
I'm still lost. What, how did you not take 50 off both sides?
yeah, I mean, why will you? Because it's 50 per day, right?
Right.
It's not only one time 50.
It's either going to be this or this, lease or buy.
Right.
The lease is 150
Per day.
per day. The buy is 2,000 plus 50 a day.
Yeah.
So we want to figure out how many days will they balance? At what point will the cost be equal?
But why will you minus 50 and not 100 or?
Because
25?
I'm trying to get all the days on one side. So by subtracting 50 from both sides, we've got all the days here then.
Oh, so you're missing one line, 150D minus 50D. You're bringing 50 to the left side, right? Okay. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, that's, this is what I did, basically subtract 50
Yeah,
from
it's
each
the
side.
algebra thing you're doing. Okay.
Is there an easier way to do this without algebra? Which is not my strength.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
I think that's probably one you have to work out that way.
150.
You could, well, there's another way to do
There's
it.
always multiple ways in it.
Yeah, there's a math way to do it. You can start plugging in the numbers they gave you.
Right.
Put 10 on each side for the day, and then 20 each side for the day, 15 each side, and 25. You just plug in those numbers and see which one works. It's a little extra calculation though. You have to calculate
Yeah.
well, you don't have to if you went through
So
the order,
you're-
you'd probably get to the second one and say, oh, that's the right
So
answer.
you're not subtracting from, you're bringing that 50D over this. It's the X plus Y algebra formula you're using. Okay. But when you say you're subtracting from both sides,
It's actually, it's just an X here. We don't even have a Y.
yes, so
So
X,
it's 150, I'm just,
bringing that over there,
Bringing
so it
it
will
over.
change the sign and then it, okay, and that's fine. Because otherwise, I will not be able to understand why will you do minus 50. If you're bringing 50 to the other side, then it will be negative, and then it's the algebra law, okay,
yeah, I mean,
yes.
bringing it over, I guess another way to say it, but basically, I'm subtracting 50 from both sides to get
Yeah,
to the next one.
but when you say subtracting 50, then it's like, why will you subtract 50? But if you're bringing to the other side, that will
Yes,
change.
it's
Okay.
another way to say it.
Yeah, it's like algebra logic, that's fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's the end of that. Give you my quiz.
Okay,
See what the other answers are.
okay, thank you. Appreciate that. So what were you going to do with your math major?
It's going to be a math teacher and a track coach. And Vietnam got in the way. I didn't go to Vietnam, but I almost did. And I dropped out of school and came back to the area, took classes in theater and human services and photography and a bunch of different things.
Wow.
And took a couple night classes at a school downtown called Moody Bible Institute.
Oh, what's that good at? And Wells?
Now,
In North?
LaSalle and
LaSalle and North?
And
So you were gonna do what? Be going to theology?
I was becoming a Renaissance man. Actually, I did think about theology too, and later I did get halfway through a 7th degree.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
At Moody?
No, at Trinity in Deerfield.
Oh, okay.
But then I had to work. We had little kids.
Oh, your wife's like, listen, see these guys running around? They need shoes.
Yeah. We were very fortunate and blessed in a lot of ways. My mother-in-law worked at a Sears outlet store. So everything's marked down before it even comes in there because it's overstocked. And then she would basically buy it herself with her employee discount and then give them to us. So they did get their shoes and clothes a lot of times
Nice.
from Sears.
Wow, yeah, wow, that's awesome.
So that worked out pretty well.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to continue with HR. We only got through the first, putting together the human resource plans. Now we're on slide 258 and 9.2, acquire the project team. I know one of my students balked at this because, basically they've got acquire, develop, and manage the team as execution processes. He said, well, I know up front who I'm going to ask to be on my team. Well, that's fine, but the way PMI thinks about it, it's actually, up front, we probably have our key leads and stuff helping us plan it and our project team, but the people are actually going to do the work. They're kind of saying, PMI is kind of saying that's going to be during execution. I think, back like, well, not that one, but maybe something like this. This slide probably helps see it, okay, we're doing all our planning. Now we're actually doing all the work, and we got the senior and junior developers doing lots of stuff. So that's where we got, 12 people per quarter that are working on it. So I think that might be a little bit the way they're thinking. We got our key people planning up front, then the actual work's being done by those developers. To acquire the team is the process of confirming the availability of the human resources we need, obtaining the team, and assigning them to the work to be done. So acquired, assigned, and active doing the work. Inputs from our HR plan that we just put together. We'll have roles, responsibilities, skill sets we're going to need. Maybe an org chart showing how things are laid out. We also had, with this one, we had 2 sub-plans. We also had that staffing management plan, which identified the time periods in which we were bringing people on and also later releasing them to go on to do something else. Enterprise factors. HR is kind of out there usually in most companies, or personnel administration. That's not part of our project. So they probably have their policies and procedures and things that we have to go along to get the people we need. And even on our side, that we probably have some policies and procedures in place on how we bring in those people and hopefully release them later when the projects are done. So some things we need to consider. Who's available? When are they available? What levels of skills do they have? Are they technical leads? What's their previous experience? Sometimes we look at track records of teams or specific people to see if they've done similar work and excelled at it or struggled with it. Personal interests. A lot of times as project managers, we don't have the authority to assign bonuses and stuff. So actually finding out what motivates people, their personal interests, a lot of times is one of the few things we got that we can use for motivating. We'll have more on motivation later in these too. What's going to be the cost of internal or external staff? and other kinds of things. Are they team players? Are they quiet but do a lot of good work? And as I mentioned, we're probably not the only project going on too. So we're probably competing with other projects and other, if we're somewhat of a functional organization or weak matrix, may have other demands on those people to work on other stuff. So we'll probably have to do negotiating to get the people we need.
As far as negotiating how?
Negotiating with functional managers, with the other project team leads or project managers. Oh yeah, this is.
So money-wise, are you meaning?
Pardon me?
Money-wise?
Availability-wise more, I think.
Oh, okay.
If we got a key person that's like a guru or a total expert in some software development thing, we need him, and Joe needs him for his project too. We both want him 100%. Well, most of the time we're not going to make him work 16 hours a day. That wouldn't help anyway. So we probably have to work something out, and one or both schedules might end up changing if that was really a key person we needed. Or we might bring in a subcontractor or some experts from outside, our company or team. Let's see. Acquisition is really another term for talking about, bringing in outside people, outside contractors. I mentioned virtual teams here, and with large companies, worldwide corporations and stuff, that's kind of the way everyone's doing business now, where you're maybe in 10 different locations but working together. It makes it more difficult, although I think with our technology, the way it's been improving with FaceTime and Hangouts and VC and Zoom, all these different tools, it's making it a little bit easier to seem like, or kind of bring us together a little bit more. Multi-criteria decision analysis, kind of looking at all the different things that we need as far as who's available, the cost, the level of experience, what knowledge they have of the customer or what we're trying to do in this project, what relevant skills do they have. So a lot of different things we need to consider. And they mentioned international factors again. So if we're in 5 different countries, obviously it's going to make it a little different, a little more challenging. And I know with us, it became a factor too, because Israel worked Sunday through Thursday and we worked Monday through Friday. So we better not have a great big meeting on our Friday, which would be their weekend, unless we wanted to work overtime. I mean, I'm sure they must have done it at some point. Halo effect is this idea that if someone is generally good at one thing, they'll be good at something else. And I added in here Peter principle, because I think this is kind of more what Peter Drucker was talking about in the Peter principle. So a guy may be a great software developer. Well, let's make him a manager. Well, maybe that's that quiet introvert that really is a great software developer, but can't talk to people or struggles with talking to people. He might not be great at that next level. Peter principle kind of talks about that too. Are you familiar with that? This goes back
I've heard
a ways.
of it,
I don't know about it.
yeah, I've never heard
The
it
gist of it
applied.
is somebody gets promoted to one level of their competency. So they may have been a great project manager, then he gets promoted to a VP, he just doesn't know what to do there. He doesn't have the skills to do it.
A lot of times they do that to get you out as well.
Sometimes, yeah.
Let's move him in there, he won't be able to do
The
it.
boss I had when we had a PMO, we had 50 people working in the PMO across our whole division. And he didn't do a very good job of presenting us to anybody. So we ended up he transferred to the group in Libertyville, the phone group, and worked as an individual contributor for quite a while. Supposed to be working on strategic planning or something. I didn't work with him directly after that, so I don't know what he was doing, but he eventually was no longer there either. So, so that's kind of what this is getting at. If somebody's really good at one thing, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be good at everything. And there may be some people that may have been adequate at doing their software work, but really are a good people person, can talk to people, really help work through conflicts and stuff. Well, maybe that's a better person to move either to that lead or to the next level.
Is it referred to as Halo is there any testing on this, or is this just an example?
It might show up.
Halo or Peter Principle?
Well, I don't know if Peter Principle will show up. That's my add-on.
Oh, you added that?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm thinking this, to me, a Halo effect I wasn't that familiar with. I think it does talk about that in our readings, but Peter Principle I am more familiar with. That's why
Oh, I see.
that might give another thing to go to.
Who's be the principal? Or is the principal called? Oh, never mind. I see you moved on.
Peter Drucker came up with Peter
Oh,
Principle,
Drucker. Oh.
I believe. Oh, I give the right name. I think that's the right name. He did a lot with organizational stuff, organizational theory, and has written a couple of books at least, I think.
I've heard of that name. Drucker.
Whether he's around, I don't know. This goes back a couple decades, so I don't know if he's retired or what he's doing now. So the outputs acquiring project team will be the people we have, the assignments we're making with them, probably a team directory, maybe an org chart with all the names of the people in it. I mean, we probably had an org chart from our planning stage. You know, we're going to need 10 developers, 2 leads, 2 testers, that kind of thing. And now we're actually putting the people's names in there. Resource calendars, especially when they're going to be on vacation or different things are going on. We also mentioned company-wide, you know, if we have plant shutdowns or something, that's going to be important. Shared resources. And then we may have some updates to our plan, and they specifically here things that might tie into what we planned out back in our HR plan. And we might be moving some things around. I don't know why they've got promotions and illnesses in here necessarily, but there may be some things that came up that we would want to keep track of and plan for.
Oh, so if they got promoted or got sick, they're no longer available
Not
for the
available,
project?
perhaps, yeah.
And you have to.
If it's like right now, it seems like, talked to a doctor friend this morning, he said at their location, which is down towards Aurora, they haven't seen a big outbreak of flu. Well, I know from my family and from friends further up here, there's been lots of stuff going on, not necessarily just flu, but people getting sick. I mean, once in a while I have a student get sick, but I think the last 2 weeks I've had 5 different occasions where somebody got sick. That to me is getting, okay, we might have to change the plan here. We've had to, you know, postpone 5 different classes because of that.
Want to make sure they're washing their hands.
Washing your hands, yeah. So 9.3 then is going to be developing the team. So we need to identify what skills or things might be needed, work on motivating the team, leading them, trying to inspire them to do good work, high-level performance. So what we want to do is look at any competencies the team might need. We're also going to be working with team building here too, which I think is probably mentioned next couple slides. We want to improve their individual skills that might help us with this project. Work on building trust, agreement between the team members, doing things to raise morale. Conflict is not seen as a bad thing, but we don't want to have World War III occurring during our planning. Yep.
Unless you're number 45. No, I'm just kidding. Question though. So,
Yeah.
No, I was there a question. So when it says improve individual skills to complete project, is that the role of the project manager, or is that going to be the role of the, so let's say it's a functional matrix, is that the right term?
Functional or matrix?
Functional.
Weak matrix?
No, functional organization, well,
Okay.
where you're sharing that person with the actual manager that they report to.
But then they
So-
say,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, I meant to jump in, but then they say most of the questions are related to like you're in a matrix organization.
Very often. So you've got 2 bosses and maybe share authority. Project manager and the functional manager may share authority.
Okay.
But
That's a balanced matrix? Is that
in the middle, it's a balanced matrix. It could be weak or strong too, where the project manager has more control or the functional manager has more control. functional organization, functional manager is basically in charge of his people, or her people.
So in that case, where the functional manager's in charge, well, I guess my question is that really the responsibility of the project manager to try to improve an individual's skills?
Not individually, I don't think. I think this is probably true across any kind of organization. If we bring in these people and they're a little bit weak on a certain skill set, well, let's see if we can get that improved. Whether, I don't think we personally would be teaching everyone.
In the red, it says project managers should develop skills to identify, build, and inspire.
Yeah, we need to develop skills to do that, but as far as the individual skills, I'm not necessarily going to be teaching them. Maybe somebody on a team, maybe we've got a project lead that's really strong in a certain area.
Okay,
Or
so
maybe we got a
what is
training department that can help with some of these things too. We bring in some people that are pretty good, but there's some special thing we're going to be doing in this project that they don't have the expertise on.
Okay, am I reading it wrong? That when it says individual, is it talking about me, the individual project manager, or an individual?
It's talking about our team here. We're talking about the team people here.
Right, okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
And ultimately what we're trying to do is bring the team together, make a good, cohesive, good working team.
Ordering pizza that you now?
But I'm glad you said that though, because today we need to decide what we're going to do for lunch for Tuesday.
Where did lunch come from here?
Our last class.
Oh, it's Tuesday, that was Friday.
Okay. You want to actually count that?
So for the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs, the HR plan, staffing assignments, resource calendar is going to be coming into us. A bunch of things we're going to be doing on the tool and technique side. Part of this is covered back in the appendix in the back of PMBOK. Talking about interpersonal skills. And this is really talking more about our skills, I think, about what we can do for leadership, being good communicators, how do we motivate people, how do we work with the group to resolve problems, empathic with people that are having troubles. And training may be necessary, so that's part of the development thing. So, and they mentioned a number of different kinds of training: classroom, on-the-job training, computer-based training. The mentor role, I know a lot of times when I was working at my last company, we'd have new people that used to be developer leads that would become project managers. So a lot of times they had good knowledge of their particular specialty, but not necessarily how to put a schedule together or how to do cost or assign people. So I did a lot of training and mentoring of some of these new project managers. We'll have a list of different team building activities that could be used. Ground rules are probably important too. What are the basic things we're going to need? What are the way we're going to work together on a regular basis? We're co-located, all coming together. We've got different hours that could be possibly a problem. But if we're supposed to work all the same hours, okay, we're all going to be here from 9 to 5. And we'll take a half-hour lunch, that kind of thing, that kind of ground rule. Co-location is great, but unless we're using one of our newer tools like FaceTime or Hangouts, we may not all be in the same place. They sometimes talk about a team war room. It's when everyone's in one place and they're all focused on that project. The war room. Yeah. Let's talk about an Agile a lot too, because Agile is bigger, I think, on co-location. Have everybody in the same place, or virtual co-location. We'll be also looking at how can we recognize people in the team and give rewards. There'll be some personal assessments in here too. I mean, if there's somebody that needs a little more training, we want to make sure that we help them get that. Again, we may not be the trainers. Most cases, we probably aren't. Some things about what we're trying to do in building the team. Want to get the team to be interdependent, have a good reason for working together, committed to working together, accountable as a whole. I think a lot of times, the team is really coming together. They're going to really want to be more interested in what the whole is doing, what we're all doing, than, oh, I'm doing really great, but Joe he's a slug. He's not doing anything. He's not helping out here. okay, what can we do to bring Joe along and get him more involved and get him more productive? Competition, moderate level of competition and conflict they see is good, because a lot of times that'll perk new ideas, maybe better ideas than what we had started with. And ideally too, if we can collaboratively resolve our issues, probably don't need to bring in a referee like the project manager, like us. They can work out some of the problems themselves. For team building, these are some other aspects that are kind of important too. If we don't have top management really helping us in this, that can be hard. It's just kind of like with quality. When we said top management isn't interested in quality, and giving us the resources and the money and everything we need to do it, might be hard. Likewise, with building a team, they're not really, if they're more dysfunctional or something, not very helpful, that could be a problem. Getting team members to commit, using appropriate recognition rewards, even sometimes even creating an identity to the teams. Certain teams like to even give themselves names. I didn't have too many that I was involved with that were like that. SWAT team, or I don't know, different kinds of names. Really working on developing trust within the team, managing conflicts as we're going along. Best if we can help develop that open communication too. I think that's obviously, some of these things are like, well, yeah, duh. That's a good thing. And for us as leaders, I think the bottom one's kind of getting that we need to be good team leaders for the team. Here's some problems or barriers that sometimes cause teams not to come together too well. Frustration, unhealthy conflict, competition, politics. This department doesn't want the other department to succeed. Unproductive meetings. I think a lot of these look like they're personal. Low frustration, low morale, low motivation, which then affects some of these others. Deliveries coming in late, more defects. Some other problems here too. Our goals aren't real clear. We don't communicate very well. Something changes. Oh, the company was just sold to Google. Oh, what do we do? Lack of the senior management support. If we've got conflicts between what individuals want and what the organizational agenda is, that could be a problem. And lack of trust in us as the project managers. That's
What? You don't trust me?
what? You don't trust me? Here's a list of different kind of team building activities, and we'll read them all. But there's a lot of different things. It's kind of funny because donut days. Did you ever have donut days?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had
Pizza day, donut day.
Fridays in my industrial engineering office. We had Baskin Robbins Day, but it was actually where I would take orders and I would call Baskin Robbins when they opened at 10 a.m. Go pick it up and bring it back. And so at lunchtime we all had our pint or half pint of ice cream or shared pints. That was more our doing, though. It wasn't like senior management or the bosses said, let's do this. Some of these things are really good off-site retreats and activities. And we used to have, they call them town halls. Sometimes they were a day-long town hall. When I joined, they were usually about a half day. And they were very often at a hotel somewhere. They'd have a nice spread of continental breakfast, maybe lunch, and go through how the company's doing or how the division is doing and what we're looking to do in the future.
The most fun thing we did offsite was, I don't know if they still have it. If you can think of the name of it, let me know. Was it Whirly Ball? Where you're in the
Whirly Ball? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fullerton in the city, or up by Buster and Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
There's one in Lombard.
Lombard.
Whirly something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're like playing, was it more like soccer or something? But you're in the,
Those carts.
in the go karts or the bumper carts?
Bumper carts, yeah.
You're in the bumper cart and you're doing, trying to pass the ball for them.
We did Dave and Buster's a couple times when I was at UPS. I think I've heard of some companies renting out Great America for a larger company and using Great America for a day or an afternoon.
How would I do a project? Oh, then we did inside volleyball in the sand. I don't know if that place is still open, but that was a lot of fun because it was winter time. It was the inside sand.
So there's a lot of good ways we can develop this. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. This is from Bruce Tuckman's The Idea of How Groups Come Together. It's called Forming, Storming, Norming, Performing, and Adjourning. Got a lot of slides on it, but not real big deal, I think. First stage, okay, we're just coming together. We don't know this boss very well or this project manager. We're all kind of just vying to see what's going to happen. Lots of things are kind of loose and dysfunctional. Storming, okay, we're together now, but we're duking it out. We're not really cohesive yet. We're not quite sure why we're doing this. We may have some cliques and factions developing. Not real focused on the goals, what we're going to be doing, because we're more tied up with my issues or I don't like so-and-so. So a lot of times in this stage, we may need to compromise a lot just to get anything done. Norming is then seen as, okay, now we're beginning to come together, we're beginning to agree a little bit more on things. Roles and responsibilities are becoming clearer. Big decisions to be made by the group, maybe smaller decisions that actually delegated to certain people or smaller teams. So our commitment's getting stronger now. We're really coming together more, getting more cohesive. And for us as leaders, if we get to this point, we're no longer fighting in as many battles. We may be more like facilitating, helping people to work through their own problems. Performing then, we're cruising now. We're focused. We're all working on this. We've got a good reason for doing this work, share vision. We're trying to achieve or overachieve for the work we have to do. And the team as a whole can be more autonomous. I think this is true on any good team anywhere, whether it's using traditional project management or agile or just an office work group that's always together. Disagreements usually can be resolved within the team. And here we're even perhaps a little bit more hands-off in a way, and delegate things, oversee and make sure, things can still come to us, but now we're really in the cruise stage. And eventually we're going to adjourn. We're done with this work, we'll move on to the next project, or next work. Picture of the same thing, just kind of showing some cartoons and how this could work. So the output of this section may be team performance, the overall team, how we're doing on meeting our objectives, are we on time, within budget, good quality. We've improved some skill sets along the way, so that training should be included. And this is interesting because here's one time when enterprise environmental factors actually gets updates. So we got some new training for the people. Well, let's update their records in HR. Make sure the HR knows that these people now are skilled at a new program language or skilled at something new.
Can you go back to or maybe just a question like these 5 stages you mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Will there be kind of exam questions and everything on these 5 things, or is it just, how
They
what's
might
the
ask
weightage?
you what's the order of Tuckman's stages of development.
Order of, okay.
I know you're going to get that in our quiz for sure. You might have a question like that. I don't think they're going to ask you a ton of stuff on this. So.
Morning. You forgot morning.
Morning?
M-O-U-R. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not.
Sometimes after adjourning, if you're not sure where you're going next, what am I going to do next? Ideally, if we're really bringing the team together, we should reduce our staff turnover too. Night 4 then will be manage the team. So all this work we've just been doing, they mentioned issue logs, work performance reports now, along with organizational process assets. So the HR plan gave us roles, responsibilities, the organization, the staffing management plan. We got our staff assignments, doing our performance assessment on the team. Issue logs, I think what we're talking about here really is
questions or problems between people. Could be just a misunderstanding, Bill thinks we're doing this work this way and Joy thinks we're doing it another way. Okay, well, that's an issue. Let's see, is it just a matter of knowledge that they both need to understand more, or is there something else going on there?
Would an issue also be, for example, I think on a previous slide, it showed like under human resources, like people getting promoted or getting sick, and you have to replace them, so would that be something?
That could be an issue, yeah. That could be a risk to start with, and if it actually occurs, in my world, that's when we changed it from a risk to an issue, when it was a risk that actually occurred. Yeah, Joe got promoted or left the company. Okay, we need somebody to replace him. And we're halfway through the project, and he knew everything that was going on. Whoops. So we'd have to scramble for that. Yeah, I think that would fall in there too. For us too, issues were also those bigger project risks. So we're 10 days late, or customer changes their mind on what they wanted partway through the project, and they want something totally different. They mentioned work performance reports, so our results on how we're doing on schedule and cost and everything will feed in. And there may be certain ways within the company that we do rewards, and HR may have certain guidelines and things. I know we had in our world things called Bravo awards. Sometimes it was as simple as a nice 8.5 by 11 fancy piece of paper. A lot of times too, there might be a gift card or something tied in with it too. Some companies have like a $50 gift that they kind of automatically give for those
Did you get,
rewards.
were you bonus based as, or operate, is it?
No,
Is
I was
project management, I mean, bonus after projects at the end of the year, success, et cetera, salary bonus at the end of the year kind of thing?
I was salary, but our division overall had a bonus system set up.
Yeah.
And it was based on a lot of things beyond individual's control. It was more of a high level thing.
Right. But
And we
you
got-
were part of that pool typically, because we were operations or what were you
I was-
considered?
I was project management. I was
But where in the organization does PM fall usually?
management.
Or management?
Yeah.
And then like what though? Finance, operations?
I was in PMO most of the time, but
Where's PMO fall?
next to finance, next to marketing, next to
Okay, so it's its own
Engineering.
title, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that, okay.
sometimes. I mean, sometimes PMO is like this little group down in the corner because we're in a functional organization. The engineering manager is in charge, basically, and finance, they're in charge.
Okay.
So PMOs can be at different places. We were kind of on the same level, I think.
And I'm just asking that basically for future hire, so should we be seeking bonus-based as well?
Good
Well, I know
question
it's
to
part of the organization's overall structure typically, but when you're trying to negotiate what you want,
Mhm.
or what they want to offer you, you don't want to leave anything like that out if it's
Yeah,
standard.
and that'd be a good thing to have on your mental checklist too.
Right.
Okay, you're gonna pay me a salary of $80,000 a year. Okay, that's nice. What else? What else?
Right.
And I know for me and for some of my friends, older friends, when we were going to new companies, negotiating in your vacation time, I'm used to having 5 weeks. Can I,
It's huge.
and they're gonna give me 2 to start with. Wait, can we come to an agreement somewhere probably between the 5 and 2, maybe end up being 3 or 4.
Right.
But yeah, another good thing to build into that.
Yeah.
You get to go vacation when you start. What?
That's negotiation.
That's negotiation, yeah. LinkedIn and ladders, just as a information thing, has very often have good little articles on the questions not to ask in an interview, the questions to ask in an interview. A lot of good things on it. I'm still getting a lot of that stuff, even though I'm personally not in search of a job right now. So you might
I
want to
think
look at.
Motorola is hiring project managers,
They do.
just so you know.
They hire one door, lay off on the other side, and
Cool.
yeah.
Thought
What's
about
left
you
of
when I saw
Motorola?
it, I'm like, well, maybe, it has to go back.
I have a couple friends that worked in Schaumburg, and they asked me once in a while if I wanted to get
How
in
long
there.
were you there?
12 years, well, 12 years total, 10 with Motorola, and 2 years with Nokia Siemens.
But if you go back for 5 and they revest you, that's 17.
Mm-hmm. I'd also have to pay back my severance.
You do?
Yeah.
If you're back in there.
Why?
Uh,
I've never heard, I've heard people.
I think-
Oh, really?
I think-
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I think they gave us X amount of
Well, I mean-
weeks of,
Retirement, another 5 years.
Yeah.
17 is much bigger than 12.
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Although Motorola, like many
That's why I look
companies
at
now,
stuff.
doesn't have pensions. They've got 401ks and stuff, which are decent.
Annuities, it was like they give you, no?
Yeah,
Yeah, but still, you'd still in 5 years, you revest and they carry forward those 12. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
yeah.
Conversation for another day.
Tools and techniques, observing conversations, management by walk around. Sometimes I mention where we're not micromanaging our people, but just checking in with them, seeing how they're doing. We may have some appraisals. We will have to deal with conflicts, and our interpersonal skills will come into play quite a bit when we're managing the team. My coffee ran through. I'm gonna take a quick break. Do you want to take a quick break? I need to
I
go.
just want to plow through.
I do too.
Go ahead.
We're taking a break?
Or we just.
I guess. We just have to go to the restroom.
So who's taking the test in December? Anybody?
No. No.
What's your approach? Are you guys just gonna reread the books again?
Yeah,
That's what I'm starting to do.
and he mentioned you probably have to read 2 or 3 times for the year.
They said in
These
the,
terms.
I don't know if it's Rita or PMBOK, they said definitely read it once thoroughly and then 2 to 3 times after that. Kind of skim through.
Thoroughly. First time. I'm like halfway through.
I
Buckle down. I have to put a date on our calendar of what date I'm gonna take this.
Yeah. Because how far, I forgot, how far ahead do we need to schedule it?
That's a good question.
How far
A couple
to
weeks, right?
schedule the test?
You may be able to schedule it for the following week, depending on what your preferences are. It might have to go 2 weeks out.
Okay.
Now, that happened to me my second time through PMP. Wanted to take it following week in Lombard, but all the time slots where was going to work for me were already taken. So I didn't want to go to Cal
Oh, no.
or for me, Deerfield would have been far away too. So
Did you pass your first time?
both times.
Conflict management. It's going to happen, and it'll arise from a lot of different things. They mentioned scarce resources, scheduled priorities, personal work styles, but I think personal family issues a lot of times too. What's going on in the family, what's going on at home can come into play. As far as work goes, it can be often beneficial. That's where they think that can promote more creativity, help us really come up with even better ideas. So we want to look at conflict and look at different solutions or alternatives a lot of times. I want to try to keep it as a team issue and not get into the personality conflict kind of thing. So we want to really work on trying to come up with good results out of it, but try to work through disagreements as quickly as we can so it doesn't become World War III, I like to say, or major conflict.
You know what I find interesting, I don't know about you all, but when you go over your slides and you're reading things, it's sensible. You can make sense out of it all. right? It all makes sense, reading. Then you get to this ambiguous question in the test.
Yeah.
And it's like, where does this come from?
Yeah.
They like piecemeal from 384 and 295, and let me take a word out of this plate, and then what's the answer?
And PMI unfortunately is also nasty on asking obscure or tricky questions.
I mean,
That's why we've got some examples of those even in our practice stuff.
you know, because when you come from the IT world and all that, it's pretty succinct, you know? It really is. I mean, all of the criteria that are out there. So this to me is so like, oh, well, you know what? I'm pinboard. It's C. No, it's not D. All you people, it's a D double. It's C. That's how it feels, you know? It's like, and then there's always multiple right answers.
Right.
But Pinbook decided it's C.
Yeah,
So,
that's
Yeah,
everybody
the right
goes
answer
in
ones are what do you
book.
do first? Those are the more
Pinbook,
difficult a
whatever.
lot of times,
I'm
yeah.
having hard time understanding many questions too. Like,
Yes,
What do you
because
want?
it's,
and
you read it,
because
it makes
Pinbox
sense.
says I have to answer that.
right.
That's why that's why we're getting brainwashed with PMI's way of thinking. Their PMI-isms.
PMI is kind of
Which
a
is fine.
dictator here. I want this, that's what I do.
It's
Sort of.
almost like learning the culture in a company.
Uh-huh.
It's not standard thought processes. It's, oh, well, you worked at Motorola, I was AT&T, some Comcast people, all different cultures.
Mhm.
So I'm Pinbock now, learn my culture. Because what all you all are doing, which is like standard, doesn't matter.
Well, even in Motorola,
Arrogance.
Right?
even in Motorola, I was
Yeah,
I was fortunate that my division actually did a lot of things, kind of like PMI describes it. The phone division, the groups in Schaumburg, they did things quite differently. And very often, I remember one of our guys transferred down there to be a project manager, and they threw out the schedule because they were so far behind. They were all goofed up. So they gave up on doing the schedule. It's like, really?
I mean, everyone sitting in your classes are intelligent people. We're
Yeah.
not stupid by any manner or means.
I agree.
And so you go through this book and then at the end you're like, WTF. I was
Catherine is really
like,
annoying.
seriously? Are you people kidding me?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Where did I read this? Oh, yeah, it's on 5 different pages and 3 different
Many answers
categories.
for me, like this is the actual one. No, Pinbox thinks this is the right. I have to think that way.
Sometimes we're in sync, sometimes we're not, obviously. Our work experiences aren't the same as the way PMI talks about
So I
that.
have to bring my mind back to Pinbox. See how many answers I always get wrong because of this reason.
Right. It's so frustrating. So at 120 you have to get right? Or how many is it? 140?
Well, of the 200 questions, 125,
Right, and 75 are, but we don't know.
25 are
really.
throw-out questions.
They're
And
throw
with-
out,
and
and
with
if
the
you,
CAPM, it's 15 that are gonna be those pre-test questions that don't count.
then that, those 25 doesn't matter right or wrong. They're not counting towards your 175, right?
Right, but you still have to answer all 200
Right, I
questions.
get it.
And you don't know which ones those are.
However, but if you got all 25 wrong, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So in actual 175, out of 175, the actual question, we have to get correct 125. Is that how
About that,
it
yeah,
is?
it's roughly
145.
69, 70% that you get for passes.
Thank you.
That's why they made the passing so low. Because in real life, 69 is a D.
You're right.
It's a D. So,
Oh.
because they Jimmy rigged it. To your point. And so to pass, get to 69 is passing. Where else does that happen?
Well, but when nobody's gonna ask you when you apply for a job, so what was your, like, just like college, they don't ask you, what was your GPA?
Right,
Unless you're 23.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just, so I'm
Like,
saying,
I'm
I
sorry.
think they made the passing score so low because they know it's a difficult test.
So
difficult
high.
test, yeah.
Wait.
And
69.
69 is passing or 70?
PMI really doesn't even tell us exactly what it is. It's 69, it seems to be the ballpark, so it could be 68, 71. That's why I say when you're going through the practice test and everything, it's good to get your own level of knowledge up so that you're getting 80s, maybe even 90s on some of the quizzes so that,
Come on.
you've done that some of them once in a while.
Some of them, they're common sense.
Yeah.
Simple, right?
Situational one.
They really are.
Yeah.
Even if you've never read this book or anything about it, common sense, you should be able to go through and at least get 50% of the
Right.
test.
I mean, a lot of
Right?
these things we're talking about
Don't you
here.
agree? You read it and you're like,
My common sense get failed with pinballs here.
true, true.
Not common sense, but your work experience, again, sometimes differs. So that's where we have to,
So that means you can
Relearn
get 60
things.
wrong.
pardon me?
Approximately 60 you can get wrong,
60, oh my God.
right?
Don't
You said
calculate that way.
140. 145, okay, so
I have to get
55.
150 right or 160. That should be the mindset, else we won't get anything right.
no, of course, yeah. But I'm just saying, knowing those numbers is
Mhm.
critical too, because, I don't know.
Otherwise.
When you start exam, you won't be able to count how many are. It's so much stressed.
Yeah, you're really trying to stay focused on answering that question, and the next question. Mark for review, and pacing yourself so you can get through it all.
Why do they have so much strict checking when you go in? They don't even allow you to wear your jewelries, like earring and everything.
What?
Yeah,
It's a very,
They don't
well,
have to take off your jewelry?
yeah.
I
Earring,
didn't hear
necklace.
that. I know
No, recently.
anything like a watch, you'd have to take
Yeah,
off.
even the earring, the only thing they let you go is with your engagement or the wedding ring, that's all.
Yeah, they didn't make me take that off.
I said, why?
Hey, what you gotta put on that?
Now, your Google glasses, they might take those away from you.
Google.
I was already contemplating.
No, but
Yeah.
these jewelry is like a light one.
Somebody who knows this stuff.
Yeah.
Why so much of like security there?
Well, that's for all sorts of certification tests, not just the PMP, but FDA requirements, whatever, they test for all sorts of different things. You go to Prometric's website and look at the list of things, a list of certifications.
So all of them
like-
are combined, kind of in one room only, all different kind of tests going on?
There are lots of different tests going on.
Is
So
it
when
really
you go into
quiet?
one room with 20 people taking tests, there might be 2 or 3 doing a
PMP?
PMP.
Oh.
Is it very quiet though?
Very quiet.
So a friend of mine who went for the CCA or whatever that Cisco cert,
CCNA.
I don't know which one.
Cisco
Yeah,
certified
he
or
went
something.
for
or
one
other.
of, anyway, went for the, like this class. So he knows I'm taking this and unfortunately, this is what he said to me. He's like, I didn't go right away. That's why I was asking if you guys were trying to do it before Christmas. He said, I didn't go for my certification right away and now it's.
He's lost it. Ah,
What?
And
He
he's-
lost what?
lost
He
it.
doesn't, he
He
would have
doesn't
to go
remember
through
as
the
much.
class again.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh.
my suggestion to you is take it as soon as possible. But as I explained to him, this is somebody I used to work with. It's like, I said, you don't understand. That's all router stuff and that he, that class, but this is pretty intense.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
it
is,
really,
I think this
I
is,
mean, you have
you
to,
don't understand
I-
this. You
I still
think that
think
you
this is gonna be
project
the
manager.
hardest one
You
for
have,
anybody that you're gonna take here. That's my opinion. Now,
What's
some-
it say?
I think it's the hardest exam of any of the exams you'll take here.
oh, I totally agree, yeah.
ITIL, Agile, some of these others are not so bad. Six Sigma, I don't even think Six Sigma's, it's a little different kind of test, but I don't think that's as hard as this.
Well, and it's not, you're right.
Yeah,
There's not as many
yeah.
questions. I mean, 200 questions
there's no
on a 4-hour
logical,
test. That's a lot.
logic going on.
It is logical, but PMI logical.
Yeah, it's not logical. They just want, oh, you can do all this, but this is the best. How will I know that?
From your studies,
So,
relearning the way they think.
I
So
think
good
once I
time.
start scoring, once I start scoring consistently in the 80s, 90s, I'm gonna try and schedule that test within
Right.
2 weeks, a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I recommend. That's why I say, Paul used to say, go in right away. Well, the sooner the better. I had one student that went in like a week after the class though, and he didn't pass.
No,
He
no
studied for
way.
2 weeks really hard after that and passed 2 weeks after
Right.
that.
my problem is sitting for a long time in front of computer and giving the test. I have to practice that
Yeah.
actually.
And that's a
They
good thing to
said
practice.
make sure you can sit for
Yeah.
and focus.
After
why
45
doing-
minutes, I am like, I can't sit more.
Mhm.
Well, I read you should actually take a 5-minute break for every 50 minutes to an hour.
If I get up, I will be gone for like
And I'm sure
half
at least.
an hour.
Do they let you do that now?
Yeah, you can stand
You
up
can stand
there.
up, yeah.
Okay. Just want to make
They don't
sure.
restrict you that much.
Okay.
Might come in and say, why are you standing?
But you have to go out in order to go to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes, that will
And you
take,
have to actually sign out and sign back in. So that's why I recommend trying.
Rescue or?
Hmm?
I mean, do they do the pat down?
no.
They did that
Almost.
when you first
They made me pull up my pants legs last time.
Yeah, taking up your hands, sleeves, everything like this, like a security check kind
It's
of.
best to take it in the summer where you can be like
That's
half naked,
ridiculous.
short sleeves, tank tops.
And they won't let you take any jacket unless it is kind of something like a top.
So there's lockers.
Yeah, there's lockers for all your stuff. Small ones or larger ones. It's like,
Can you bring a drink in there?
Oh,
Like coffee? Or
Oh,
tequila?
don't drink anything. Don't drink
now if you share
anything
the
before 2
tequila with
hours.
the proccor, maybe they'll let you. I don't know.
Restroom thing, I don't know. It will kill your 10, 15 minutes if you go out for a
Bathroom
restroom.
is less than 5 minutes away, because they won't stop your clock, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. If you need to go to the washroom, clock doesn't stop. You
Yeah,
have
it
to
takes
check
you
out,
10
check
minutes,
back in,
right.
and it could take you 5-10 minutes to go out and come back.
Right. Not
And
5 minutes,
clock
definitely.
keeps going.
We're gonna be fine, guys. We'll be fine.
I think so.
No, I have to practice to sit down for 4 hours, that's what I
I
do.
can do the 4 hours.
Mhm.
Think about when you fly to the West Coast, I mean,
Yeah.
4 hours.
It's almost
Yeah,
that too.
No, you have-
enjoy, just
But me,
music or
stuff.
sleep.
Sure.
At least in the flight though, you get a drink once in a while or can order a drink or a snack or something.
And since long time, I'm not working like a full-time thing, so it's like, I get up whenever. Whenever you want. There's no classroom, no meeting, so.
So we have to take that 5 minutes.
Okay, well, let's continue on, or we're not
Yes.
gonna get too far with this. So different approaches on managing conflict. I think active listening is probably one of the key things.
What? You're on mute.
What? Active listening.
That's where, like, way back, well, I've learned this over the years, and I still use it some when I'm thinking about it, about really reflecting back what people are saying to make sure that I've understood what they're really trying to say, or they understood what I was really trying to say, if I use the right words, or, you know, that, and beyond the words too, about the emotions and things about with it. Would like to come to agreement. Win-win would be the best thing. In PMI's way of thinking, though, compromise is usually not a win-win. Usually both sides had to give up something. It may still be the best thing we can do. But if we can come to an agreement where everyone is, yep, that's okay, that can be good. Mentions again, trying to separate the actual issues, the problems in the project from the emotions and the personalities of the people. We're trying to be professional here. Oh, yeah, Cynthia, you said that a lot about being
That comes from the
professional.
top
I like
down.
that.
I understand. Okay.
Here's a little bit more on different kinds of conflict management, not in any specific order. And in the footnotes on this, I kind of like what they said. They spelled it out a little bit more. So there's a lot of times there's different areas we need to consider how important and how intense is this conflict. Is it just a minor thing and not really a big deal? Is it time pressure? Some other things going on. A lot of times they listed the top 7 things that we sometimes have problems in: schedule, project priorities, resources, technical opinions, administrative procedures, cost stuff, personality. So I thought that was good. So I actually need to hand out with these
So,
footnotes on it.
will there be other questions on this specific category?
There may be.
Yeah, I was doing it, there were companies.
So collaborating, problem solving, working through, that's the ideal. Compromise is where we may end up a lot of times, which may still be pretty good, but that means both sides had to give in a little bit. Withdrawing or avoiding, there's sometimes when this isn't the time to have this battle. We may have to postpone or schedule it for some other time or table that idea for now. We'll get back to that. Smoothing is the idea of accommodating, trying to make sure really that we build more on what we agree on and not the differences. And forcing or directing sometimes is what you have to do. But we got a team that's just so disjointed and not really coming together. Like in Tuckman stages, if we're in stormy, we may have to be more directive there than we would later. But forcing, I think, Apple, I don't know why Apple keeps coming to my mind, it was Steve Jobs. He was doing that quite a bit. And he was quite successful, but a lot of times it meant somebody else lost along the way there. The interpersonal relationship section talks about leadership, different ways of inspiring people, communicating our vision, influencing people, persuading, negotiating with them, working through alternatives, making effective decision-making, and doing ways to kind of stimulate the team and work through good opportunities. The outputs of this section will be change requests. Maybe some staffing issues like we talked about. Somebody gets promoted, leaves the company, transfers. That might change our plan, especially if it's a skilled person that we can't replace really easily. Updates to the big plan. Maybe we've identified some new roles in the team that we need that we didn't really have recognized up front. Updates to our documents. And we're in execution here, but there's updates going into our enterprise environmental factors, those performance appraisals, those new training that people have, new skill sets, and OPAs, historical information, lessons learned from working with the team. Maybe some updates on templates, like I think mostly here a template might be the org chart of how we broke down our project team. Here's some different kinds of leadership skills that we can use. Directing, telling people what to do, facilitating, really more coordinating, coaching. Coaching and mentoring, I think, are similar in a way, as we're instructing, maybe teaching, but also guiding some. Supporting. People are moving along pretty good, but we might just need to give them some help. Autocratic, well, that's what I used to think was the UPS way, the my way or the highway kind of thing. This is what we're doing. No questions asked. Consultative.
And that's different than directing?
It's kind of similar. I think here they're trying to get more guiding. Here it's more like it's going to be my way. There's no question about it. Directing, you might be carrying out, I think, more of a conversation. Questions and stuff. Consultative, well, consultants, what do? They draw out ideas, make suggestions, try to work through things with the team. Consensus, great thing, we can come up with a group agreement. That's what we'd like to get a lot of times. Delegating, you may set some goals and let the team go do it. I had one manager at UPS we used to call the Teflon man, because assignments would come into his office and slid right out to us. It was like a Teflon frying pan. We thought nothing stayed on his desk. He also kept a clean, empty desk too.
I never figured out how to do that. Delegate?
Yeah.
No paperwork.
No
Sitting
paperwork.
around.
Yeah. The head of our PMO was like that. He might have one sheet of paper in front of him, but he had photographic memory, I think. The test manager, he had asked the test manager the week before for something,
I need that.
and the
I
test
need that for
manager
this exam.
started dancing. And he got kind of nailed for it because he'd been asked very specific things to have prepared for the following meeting, and he hadn't done it.
Oh,
And,
manager?
yeah, the test manager was not prepared to do what he'd been asked to do the week before. And I was impressed because the PM manager only had one sheet of paper in front of him. He wasn't even looking at it because this was something that had up in his head.
Yeah.
And he was asking very specific questions too. So it was like, oh, I was impressed with that.
Yeah.
We need that for PMP exam.
Photographic memory.
Yeah. Laissez-faire, hands off. Go ahead, do your work. My last boss was like that. She was pretty good. She had a good idea what was going on, but she canceled our weekly staff meetings because thought you guys were doing fine. Just keep going. I actually planned some meetings with her once in a while, just to say, hey, here's what I'm doing, just to make sure you know what's going on over here.
Why did you do that? So when it's time for your review,
Is that these listing are related to mostly PM? Because I have not heard about this laissez-faire in the leadership style.
I think these are general management styles.
Because the last one, yeah, I didn't hear, I haven't heard that.
Really hands off, never had it.
No, others I have heard.
Haven't heard that term.
Yeah, not heard. So that's like general leadership terms here.
Mhm.
So I know about leadership styles and all, but
Yeah.
that's new to me.
For high
Is there any
school.
other word for that or?
That kind of
Well,
person is
hands
very
off, I
cool.
think is one way. You know, just
I love
tell your people you want to do and you don't bother them, just let them go. It's kind of the opposite, I think, of micromanaging people.
Okay,
But if you're micromanaging people, you know, you're on them, okay, what did you do? Did you do that? Did you do that?
but still we will have some kind of status meeting in these also, right? Hands off,
Sure, yeah, this is,
like
Yeah.
not every day, but maybe every other day or
Mhm.
every week.
this really is more to do with your style and not necessarily how often you have meetings or other things. I mean, those are
My
going to take
style,
place too.
okay.
I think I've done all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that.
Here's something about where we get power as project managers. They list a number of different ways that we can use our power. Formal, legitimate, our role, I am the project manager or I am the chief financial officer, therefore we'll do things this way. So your formal position a lot of times will give you that kind of authority to do things. A reward, well, rewards are pretty clear. If somebody does good work, they should be rewarded. And penalty, of course, is just the opposite. And they mention coercive sometimes too. If you're late, you're going to be put on probation. Experts, well, we've talked about experts an awful lot, and it's always a tool and technique.
Right.
But also, these are the people that are the smart people that have specific knowledge and skills and stuff that really make them stand out a lot of times.
But it says powers that the project manager uses.
Yeah, so sometimes we may be pulling in some of this, well, they mentioned PMs too, yeah. So in their case, if you talk about doing the right things with project management processes and stuff, I think. Referent, usually talking to somebody else for why I got certain power. Well, my uncle just happens to be the senior vice president. Oh, yeah, that's nice. In Chicago, it used to be, well, my uncle was, got me this job, so, and he works here, and my cousin works here, and everybody works here, which is.
The way I understand referent though, and tell me if I'm wrong. So let's say you're a PM and someone's questioning a process or something or activity. So you don't really have power. Well, so then you would use that terminology like it says the sponsor said to do it this way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using the more negative ones for, relatives that, the nepotism kind of thing. But yeah, it could be, well, the sponsor wants us to do it this way.
Do this step first.
Yeah. The VP wanted it done this way and has a certain amount of authority and influence on the project. So, okay, we got to do it that way. Or come up with good, solid, legitimate reasons why that's not going to work and give them some data.
And I am
and
the
stuff to show.
PM, do it this way. I don't think that would go over very well. If that's your approach.
Yeah.
Even if that's the case, you're the PM and you know it's gonna get done, I think we'd have to.
Yeah,
Soften that a little
most of
bit.
the time, I don't think we'd be using that one. We shouldn't be using that one to start with. If we got somebody that just is totally resisting and not willing to do anything that we want them to do. Of course, that might be a place where penalties or something else would come in too. Or a referent. Senior management want us to do it this way. A little bit about rewards and recognition to be tied in with performance based on results. Maybe you got some pre-established guidelines for that. Within the control of the team. Over the years, I've had various things. Sometimes they would evaluate us as a team, sometimes as individuals, and sometimes it had nothing to do with what we were doing. I think, even the example like you brought up earlier about, the bonus system for like all of Motorola. Well, that was based on what all of Motorola was doing. So one division might be really dying, another division doing super.
Right, but they also, if you're super and you're dying, if there's 100%, dying gets 5 divided by all your 200 employees, so you get 0.00 nothing.
Yeah, I know. It's
And then great gets, 70% or whatever they get.
Yeah, I mean, they did divvy it out some that way, but sometimes it was still within the entire division, everyone got the same thing. So whether,
In your division,
yeah,
super or not.
and our division was pretty big, so, you know, if we had, whatever, 12, 15,000 people, that was quite a bit to split it over, you're right, so
Definitely.
X percent per person of whatever the kitty was.
Right.
$1 million, okay, so each of you get $45.
Right.
No, it was a little more than that, but yeah.
But it's always more than just company-wide, like you have other calculations too, right?
There were a lot of calculations.
Project, like plus project based and all.
Yeah. So we need to consider differences like with individuals and cultural differences too. I know if we were in an Arab country or Israel, we probably wouldn't want to be giving them bacon or pork for a bonus. Not even
Here's your
bacon.
ham.
Japan, you know.
God.
And the best thing too is give out those rewards on a timely basis. I know if we wait 6 months to say, oh, you did such a great job 6 months ago. Huh?
Right.
What did I do back
A
then?
whole other project.
Yeah.
Are we really involved in that? Doesn't it usually come from leadership?
We are
It's just kind
sometimes,
of, no, it's-
especially if we're in an organization where we have some kind of functional group too, where maybe they give out the raises and evaluations and stuff on their people. We may not have as much that we can do with that. It's true. Or sometimes we may be able to do some input with that. We got some exercises here. With these categories here, and with these 4 things, we want to match them up. So I want every module to have a code walkthrough. I need to see the review sheets before I allow the work to proceed. Is that directing? Okay. That's a good risk to consider. Does anyone have other concerns with this approach?
Facilitating?
Might be facilitating.
Yeah.
You guys figure this out and let me know what you decide. Step 1.
Delegating.
Yeah. Yes, we could skip that step. However, if things go wrong, we could lose 3 months of work and jeopardize the project. We need a decision that everyone agrees with.
Or facilitating.
And we want everyone to agree with it, so I'm thinking it might be kind of working towards
Oh, we need
consensus.
decision everyone.
Yeah. Similar one, but this time we got formal, penalty, expert, referent, and reward. If you miss one more deadline, I'll put you on probation. Penalty box, yeah. Yeah, it's a silly request, but he's the boss's nephew.
Referring.
Yeah. She's implemented wireless technology in several platforms. She's perfect for leading the architecture team.
Expert.
As a project manager, I require you to submit test results to QA.
Formal.
You are our best consultants, so this year you're getting a sizable raise.
Reward.
Rewards.
Yeah.
A little bit more about motivation. Why it's important for us as project managers, because a lot of times, especially if we're a functional or weak organization, we don't have a lot of the dollar stuff that we can handle. And what we're trying to do is really, bring the team together and produce good stuff. So we're going to look at a bunch of different ideas on motivating people coming up here.
Can I give it back? I'm doing that. 295? Okay.
Actually, I'm missing something in the next slide. I'll explain that in a minute.
Each individual team member? Wow.
So we're going to go through Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Hertzberg's motivational theory, motivation and hygiene theory, McGregor's X and Y, Vroom's expectancy theory. There's actually a new one which I'm going to give you a handout on that was in Rita's, but not in our slides originally, which is McClellan's theory of needs, also called the acquired needs theory. Oh, I think it's,
I have that one already.
you got that one? That one? Yeah.
No, I don't have.
I'll take it, yeah.
I don't have. When did you have?
It might be in this
Yeah,
packet
this
there.
stuff's out.
I don't have that.
Here it is. Lovely.
Maslow, I learned about Maslow back in the 70s. He was actually a psychologist back in earlier than that. But his whole idea was that we're going to have this hierarchy of needs. It's going to be some basic stuff. We need food, water, sleep, expression. We need to poop. Next level would be safety things, safety for our family, employment of some kind. Next level, friendship, family.
Oh, he's getting all into your business. What? Who is this guy? Just kidding.
Maslow,
Oh, I can't read, love, that yellow one is not clear in the slide,
isn't it? Oh, in the books?
in the
Oh,
slide,
yeah.
Family, friendship, and sexual intimacy.
slash
Or
belong.
love, belonging. Yeah.
What if you're single? Then you messed up. Huh? Just saying.
The yellow one is not safety, I can read safety,
This was a big thing that came up, I think, in humanistic psychology and stuff. Ultimately coming to the point where we can be self-actualized, we can be really creative, solve things on our own, we can ultimately come to that point. That's a great idea, and some people get to that point, but a lot of people don't. And it almost assumes that we're always going to get better and better. And unfortunately, we see in the world and evening news, not everyone's getting better and better. But anyway, that's his hierarchy of needs. So he kind of broke it down this way. Hertzberg's motivational theory kind of breaks things down into two categories. Basic hygiene factors, I'm working, got a job, good relationships, good supervisor, okay, some job security, okay, that's hygiene factors. Motivational things, Hertzberg thought would be more like getting recognized for, or recognizing for myself, personal achievement, getting recognized for doing good work, something challenging or stimulating, having more responsibility. So he saw these things as, this gives us satisfaction. Okay, I got a job, making some money. These are the kinds of things he thought were going to be more motivating than just getting paid and going to work 40 hours a week.
Are these questions on the theory and the test? Whose theory is this?
There might be,
Oh, God. Okay.
not a lot though. McGregor's theory of X and Y. This is what I learned back at UPS days. Theory X basically says people are lazy and you got to keep on them all the time. You got to keep making them work. You got to control them, which was like a bunch of truck driving managers were.
Lazy, yes, I am lazy.
Theory Y is kind of the opposite extreme though, where you're assuming that people can be creative and really do good work. So what you really need to do is help set up the environment so that they can do good work. Kind of extreme, this, it was like the my way or highway kind of thing. The daily threats of being fired, stuff like that. I thought it was, UPS managers are mostly Theory X. They've worked a lot over the last decade or so to try to become more diversified and more people oriented. But they, I think, are still truck driving managers a lot of times.
For me, that kind of works with kids very wide. I noticed with my little ones, they do what you expect when you set the expectations that they're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, you're not overly, what's the word? Like, you don't want to like pacify or lie like, oh, you're super smart when they're really not. But you want to like just set the expectation like, you're a hard worker. I can see you really want to do well. So what is it that I can do to help you achieve that? Kind of like,
That's good.
that works more so than. So sometimes I feel like dealing with adults, it's almost like dealing with children without treating them like children.
Definitely.
You're dealing with people and their emotions. And
Yeah.
a lot of people say, especially millennials, but I find it, it's not generational at all. Because I had to like dial back because I'm very direct, kind of no nonsense. Like, okay, you guys know what we need to do. I don't want to babysit for all adults, but those soft skills, go back. You're like, oh my God, what am I working with a bunch of babies? You have to.
That's interesting because I know in the last decade too, emotional skills, emotional intelligence quotient has become a bigger thing too.
Yeah.
Because I know I got a brother-in-law that's a year younger than me, but he's emotionally about as mature as a 10-year-old. So his emotional maturity is a lot different than his age and years.
Get stuck somewhere.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are different stages like that.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of times whatever home background was, whatever conflicts they ran into with the kids at school and bullies and stuff, whatever it might be, there's a lot of those things that inhibit us from really becoming fully mature.
What if they ever did drugs? Because you know if they did
Drugs, well,
a
that'll
person
affect,
ever did drugs, their development of their brain totally.
is altered, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen brain scans of people that have done drugs? And
Or
normal,
drink, or people that drink.
yeah, drinking too, alcoholics
Alcoholic brain.
is pretty muddled also.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have a lot of functioning alcoholics that are high responsibility positions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
which is funny, we watch a lot of English mystery novels, and we're actually watching a Australian mystery novel, a mystery program now called Dr. Blake. Everybody drinks a ton, and some of them, not too far back, also smoked a lot too, so they're smoking and drinking all the time, on the job, off the job. It's like,
Serious on the job?
sometimes, yeah. Inspector Morris needed to think, so a lot of times he'd take his sergeant with him, go sit in the pub and have a pint to think this over. I think better when I'm. Yeah, just another picture comparing the two again. Much easier to work, I think, in a theory Y realm than theory X. Broom's expectancy theory was the idea that people tend to be highly productive and motivated if they believe their efforts are going to lead to something good and personal rewards. So if they do excellent work, they'll try to do better. And if they're being rewarded for it. On the downside, though, if they see that they're not really getting anything for their rewards or for the good work, their work will probably tail off some. Why am I doing this? You know, their motivation isn't there.
Right.
But is it, if someone is told their work is below expectations, they will probably decline further.
Yeah.
So
Or if
it's not
they don't
linking it to
either told that
rewards.
or they see it's not going anywhere. Like, I've always been promoted for the last 6 years. Nobody got a bonus for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I can see that.
So even those
Why
kinds of
busting
things.
my butt?
Now, the one that's not in the book is that one about McClellan's theory of needs. I gave the handout on. And what McClellan basically said was that one of these three things, achievement, affiliation, and power, usually is most motivating for certain people. Some people might be motivated by achievement. You know, if they got good work to do and it's challenging, you know, they like getting recognition for doing good work, achievement will be a big thing. Affiliation, it seems to me, is more like the people that like to work in groups. And power, well, some people are interested in power. I want power. So I think that's kind of what his theory was getting at.
So are they gonna tell us how do you identify, like, so give us all these theories and
You
Maslow.
may have a question or so on identifying a theory. We'll give you the list of names of Hertzberg, Vroom. In our slides, we didn't have Vroom's name in there for a while. So, well, who came up with the expectancy theory? And
Did we
actually
talk about
Googled
this?
it and looked it up.
Did we talk about this theory?
I just talked about it.
Which one?
The new one.
McClellan's theory.
Achievement, affiliation,
Yeah.
power.
So Maslow is,
Maslow's the hierarchy of needs.
okay,
Probably if you know those
oh, yeah, okay.
keyword like that, that'll help.
Maslow, this dude,
Motivation,
this
theory XY.
dude is
Oh,
crazy.
there are 2 slides for theory XY?
Yeah.
So I'm not supposed to
Expectancy.
take
I mean, the hygiene theory, that's just so weird.
Yeah.
the title.
Okay. What's the
Yeah,
difference?
hygiene?
Motivation / hygiene theory.
What's the difference in
What
hierarchy of
hygiene
needs
is
and
that?
theory?
Hygiene is our basic needs. It's general satisfaction, but not something that's gonna make me try to work harder. But the motivational things, being rewarded, recognition,
Whose is most used in
Yes.
organization? Do you have any idea?
I'll play Maslow.
Because I mean, I've seen a lot of these within the organizations.
Mhm. Yeah.
But at granular level, more of the management level, not top down.
Not top down.
So you get to a manager and he believes theory X is the way to do, we're talking sales. We have the
UPS, truck manager.
douche that wants to micromanage everything, and you're like, didn't we just talk about this yesterday? Seriously, if you take
I-
notes, so no. Used to manage it.
This McCleaners is a new one, right?
McClellan?
McLennan. So hierarchy of need and theory of need. What's the main difference?
Hierarchy is talking about basic needs and then working your way up to being things that really motivate you. And the ultimate is becoming self-actualized, which is the idea of getting better and better and better. And McClellan's theory says that one of these three things usually is your key motivator. Some people are motivated by getting power. Some people are motivated by getting recognition.
I like his theory the best.
Yeah, I
So
think it's a pretty
this-
good one. That's why I was surprised when I was rereading Rita. Oh, where's this in our slides?
So
It will be
this,
in the new slides.
this might be like a professional need, what he's talking about. But both has needs, right? This is our
Yeah, these
basic
are all
self-need.
motivational theories. These are all motivational theories.
Yeah, but these achievement, affiliation, and power need.
That's the thing that presses the button for certain people. I'm really interested in getting power.
So that's
I
what
really want something that's gonna give me something really I like to do, something challenging, new work, where I can achieve something really special or great.
So as a project manager, let's just say you're in a company where you actually have to be the one to determine, because you're trying to determine who's the best fit for specific parts of the project or activities. And you don't have, so for me, initially, I'm thinking you would have to rely on that, let's say it's functional, you have to rely on that manager to make that decision, right? The functioning manager to determine who's gonna be the best person to get this done based on their.
Yeah, if we're not that familiar with a functional group and that functional manager really knows his people real well, yeah.
But then what if what if you don't have, so what if you're the person that's deciding who's gonna get assigned what activity? How does these different theories, how do you identify what these different personalities are or behaviors? I just have to kind of observe them, maybe in meetings or something, and then,
Yeah, I think that they kind of got that idea a little bit back when we're acquiring the team, because we're trying to identify what people are like good team leads, what people are worker bees, what different skill sets do people have. So that's a little bit separate from motivating people. We'll probably have already assigned them to the work that they're going to do, and hopefully know that we put the best people, our gurus and experts on critical path work and that kind of thing.
okay, so in doing all that, you would also determine, while you're determining that, you kind of making notes of if I need to motivate that person down the line, this is
Yeah.
their personality type or
Yeah.
behavior.
This person really likes to get attaboys. This person likes to get a gift card. This person likes to have more authority.
So how is PM work related to this hierarchy of needs? Because these are very personal level too, right? So
Mhm.
PM doesn't have to know all these needs of the team member.
I have to know something. What they're saying is, especially if we're in a weak matrix or a functional organization, we're not the ones signing the bonus checks and everything. So understanding what motivates people really can help us a lot of times in getting the best out of different people.
Even at the personal kind of
Yeah,
thing.
we're talking, yeah.
So if somebody said they're not getting enough sleep, according to Maslow,
No, but it says friendship, family,
Yeah, that
breathing,
yeah.
security of body. So these are like just kind of a hierarchy of general needs.
Right, yeah, it
But
starts out with
McLennan
generally.
is saying only related to work or maybe like the professional side, right? Achievement, affiliation, power.
Yeah, well, even with Maslow,
Right.
ideally, people hopefully have a lot of these basic needs being met,
Yeah.
whether they're single or married. And so what we're trying to do there is build them up, give them respect, help them maybe with their confidence, give them better things to motivate them, new challenges to achieve something better.
So this was obviously developed before sexual harassment came into play.
Um,
Let me sign that code of conduct, business code of conduct.
I
This
mean,
this
I
is
just
why, in
want to-
general, for me personally, this is great if people can get that way, but it's assuming that we get better and better, and we know that people don't always get better and better. If I can progress through this, wonderful. And some people may get to that point where they're very creative and open and very transparent, able to talk to people, work with people, not harass people, not cause trouble. But yeah, the fact that we got all this harassment stuff now is kind of showing.
I mean, to me, this is more of you're in the HR and you're trying to learn the different, personalities of people
Mhm.
and what this outcome hierarchy, you have, what kind of personality that you're having all these things met. I don't know. I just can't, or I don't know.
And actually, if we got a good HR
Or this
department that
wasn't
knows
one.
these different moods and different people, they may be able to help us as project managers saying, well, you're getting this person that's kind of an introvert, does great work, but they won't talk to anybody very much. Well, you probably don't want to talk to them a lot then.
Yeah.
Or somebody that's an extrovert that talks too much, and you have to kind of rein in the middle of it. So you might get some help with things like that.
So with an introvert, when it comes to motivating, if you're at a point we need to motivate them, that's something you might want to do private, like not in public, you know what I mean? Like they probably wouldn't want public recognition.
Yeah, they might like you just coming up and saying, boy, that was great work you did yesterday, or, that section you just turned in looks really wonderful, or something. Yeah, it may be.
Can I get the next one a week early? And then an extrovert, they probably want the public recognition.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
A little reminder again on meeting management, because I know we've talked about this a few times already. Have a specific policy, only call meetings when you really need to have a meeting. Very specific purpose, specific agenda. Doesn't say it in this one, we usually want to make sure you got a scheduled start and end time. Oh, it does say that, I'm sorry, read it. And get the minutes out quickly, you've got action items to be taken care of and stuff, get those out. So really have a very clear reason to have meetings and not just have ones like we used to have them in 3.5 hours and wandered around everything.
These meetings are meeting minutes we are talking about, right? Issue minutes, meaning meeting minutes to
Issue
everyone,
the minutes as promptly as you can,
the meeting.
not 2 weeks later, maybe the next day or whatever.
Do we have a minute to look at that one video that we talked about today?
Probably not, because we're 11:40,
What time is it?
11:40,
Oh.
and we haven't even done the HR quiz yet. But that is the end of the HR section.
So,
So you will do a few minutes break before starting?
Yeah.
review?
And also, I've been putting together these summary sheets. My summary sheet for HR and procurement.
Two together?
Is that like a 2.5?
That's-
do we know though, do
That's quite a bit.
organizations adopt one of these Maslow?
One or more, I think probably.
One or more. But it's not public, it's not truly, I've never heard of it. It's not public knowledge if you're not, like in HR or something like that. But we don't know what theory is, a part of that organization's
But I guess
overall culture. Or you're just looking at these based on, okay, I'm dealing with this individual mentally, I know they fall into one of these factors.
Yeah, it might help you just working one-on-one with them. Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out
Whether
where.
a company has a policy of this motivational period, so I kind of doubt that.
I'm just trying to figure out
Yeah.
where you place this into your PMI world, this is a slice of the pie. This is in the background working.
I think the general way to think about this is talking about if we're in an organization where we don't, we like gift cards and bonuses and stuff, how can we help motivate people?
Okay.
And sometimes it's the recognition, or finding out this guy really likes to have more power, okay, let's give him some more authority. Maybe delegate this part of the project to that person so she can really run with it. So trying to help us, I think, identify how to deal with and motivate their people.
Did you ever figure out why I couldn't get online?
Were you able to look at those videos and send out the third one? Really?
So, yeah, I couldn't, it just, remember that, or not remember, but I sent you a snapshot of what I saw. It was just you saw a picture? I did, yeah. In the text.
Oh, in text.
While we were texting, I
Yeah.
sent you a snapshot, but, so there should be a backup.
I think I'm gonna leave.
Did you email the
Well-
video for the last class?
Hmm?
Did you email the video? I didn't get it, that's
I'm
why.
watching the video, it's so much easier being in class. So,
That's
I
why,
can't watch the video, I can't do that for 3 hours, I just can't.
Yeah, I
There's
didn't
no way
receive
for
that.
four.
that's why I usually try to break them up in smaller chunks.
No, can't do it. No, can't do. If I didn't see it or I couldn't log on, I was not gonna open that up and watch 4 hours of that, listening to you guys talk.
I got videos for the last one, last Friday,
Yeah.
not for
Like-
today.
Oh, that picture.
That's what I saw. And it just kept going around and around and around.
I don't know why it didn't work.
But if you're remote like that, because I'm not gonna watch this for 4 hours, just not gonna do it.
Yeah, and I usually try to break them up in smaller sections, like this one I'm gonna stop soon, this is just a review and the rest HR, procurement HR, and then I'll start a separate one for the review part.
Right, because that's
I
a
don't-
big part of it. Anyway, you guys should need a backup, it's like team viewer, hey, we can't get in through whatever it's called, web chat or what do we use, Google,
Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
We haven't had much trouble with it.
because team viewer's free.
Thanks for you.
Huh?
Hangout is for
Okay,
you.
no, but I'm saying I couldn't get in,
Yeah, I don't know why though, so.
so I could have been doing
Yeah.
other things and sitting there trying to get in.
Okay, I have not received that video in case you have already sent it. So maybe,
I think I sent it, I'll look it up.
but that's fine, yeah, whenever you send it. Just FYI, I have not received it. So are we
I'm not
taking
sure
break?
why, because I thought I sent it to everybody.
No, I haven't received
I know I used
it.
it.
So if you have sent it, then please check, otherwise I have not received it.
Who cares?
I'll check, yeah.
Yeah,
Are you guys motivated by what, though? Recognition, cat, money? So it does, okay.
Combination. I want a
I'm
combination.
sorry. Yeah.
Just acknowledgement.
I don't care about the recognition, I just want to be paid well, and, paid well and have some kind of power. Say so, I want to have a say so.
Yes. I feel like that's respect. Like, they acknowledge that you're doing such a great job, and then they respect you.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come to you and give you more power. Yeah. You don't gotta publicly, I really don't like
Yeah, I don't
public
need that.
recognition.
Yeah, I don't need that.
I mean, we just made millions of dollars for you and you're giving me a $25 Starbucks gift card. It's not cutting it for me.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, remember, were you in
Thanks.
podcast when they said they paid $5 million for that every year? And they passed out.
I don't remember now.
Autonomy is a huge motivator for me. I hate micromanagement.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a day off. I don't want your $25 gift card.
Yes.
That works. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Or a chain pass for the month in the wintertime.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, we got.
are we taking break right now?
Yes, we're
Oh,
on break.
okay.
I'll give out a quiz in a few minutes.
We're going on break now, right? Well, you didn't say it was official.
Yes, we did. That's why I'm giggling. because I
I'll be back.
said, let's take a break. Or we talked about taking a break.
I think Melissa was one of her in class, but I can't. I really struggle with this, the whole thing. Talking with Paul, he said that we could do some one-on-one stuff. But I'm starting to go through again. I'm starting from the beginning, but I'm wondering if part of the issue is the 2 books.
Oh, Pembroke and Reed as well.
Yeah, and which one? Because I started with him. we really get some more detail. But I really want to pass the test. And I know I feel prepared to pass the test, even with reading.
I don't recommend doing it like next week anyway.
No, I know. Oh, my friend told me, I was bringing that up because I wanted everybody to know that. Not that they don't know, but, you know, a test like that, whatever he's certified for, it's not, you tell people you're in PMP, they have no idea.
A lot of people have, but
There's so much involved.
Yeah.
It's not study it and you're going to pass. It's not, I don't see that. I just don't. Because I feel like, as I was saying, they take a question that's been formulated from 4 different areas in the book. And they bring it together in a question. Or 4 different pages.
Yeah.
In a, I mean, I'm not sure what I'm missing. It's not connecting for me.
Yeah. No, you talk about not connecting the dots.
Right.
It's coming together that way.
Right. I don't want to bring this in for everybody because it's personal to me, but I just don't know what nice, you know, because at this point I feel somewhat disappointed because I'm not at the point where I could go do this. And I wanted to be there. And even if I started rereading, I'm not sure where to go. I don't want to go through the whole process again, rereading everything and still be here.
Yeah. And I've had some students that have read both books like 3 times. And yeah, to really get it and gone through fast track a ton. Yeah, like if
And they passed.
if they said cost had whatever 170 questions, they actually would even do the whole cost questions, everything in there. I don't normally recommend it early on, especially. That's why I said, do 10, 20 hours worth of questions by subject. I think that's a good way to begin to learn it. And I think the explanations in there are usually pretty good.
Do you think that the questions themselves, after going through this, could, going through all the questions could be the solution?
I think it's helpful. I think understanding the concepts is, and you probably have a few more dots to connect to.
I just don't get why I'm not putting this together. Because, really in IT, it's kind of similarly laid out, right?
Yeah.
You have all those pieces that you have to strategically bring together.
Well, I'm willing to try to help whatever I can.
I just don't know where we would start. I don't know where, what should I focus if we were to get together? And I'm thinking, I'm starting over again. I'm going, and I'm not flip-flopping around. I'm going through. I think because that's the way I learn. I learn sequentially. Yes, boom. One sliver after another. I can't go, let me jump over here and then I gotta go back. It just doesn't work for me.
That's why, in general, for studying, when you have time, because I know a lot of times people don't have time when we're going through the class, we're going to read chapter 4 and back to chapter 4 and read it, and maybe do the exercises she has in there. I think that can bring it together a little bit better.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, but I wouldn't bounce back and forth. And I know, unfortunately, at the start of our class, we were bouncing around a lot. Now we're more.
Because I think that really screwed me up when we were bouncing. Because I never locked in the theories of the charts. I will lock that in my mind, and I think that piece is what's going to really bring it together for me.
That's why I think once I get the class reworked for the future version, I would probably have integration project management being like maybe those first 3 chapters about foundational stuff and everything, then integration project management. That really is the top thing. That this is where everything feeds into it. Right. So cost planning, schedule planning, all that stuff feeds into the big plan.
Right.
And we manage the big plan. And then we monitor what we're doing in the big plan, look for changes and stuff. So that really, I think, is like the foundational one for everything. There's a lot of us, see the chart, a lot of them just have, not that chart either. But, we had a lot that just had planning and controlling. You know, HR is even a little bit weird, planning and then 3 execution ones.
Right.
But I think understanding like the flow of the work. What's that?
Even like VA, I picked the wrong thing.
Oh,
This VA.
No.
unless there's celery and vodka in it.
I wonder if
Bloody Mary.
she's vegetarian. She's not.
No.
I hate VA. What makes it a little better than mine? She might.
Did you have a VA? Okay.
Yeah, but I think the more that you can catch the flow through the processes.
That's part of, I think, my kind of disconnect.
Are you done?
You're saying, okay, I just want to say.
If you want to see procurement management.
The answers?
Where'd you guys get?
Oh,
that?
no.
Doing through.
5th floor.
Did we do it already?
Yeah, started the class.
Oh, where's mine? Oh, this
When we
one.
get off.
No, we had, this was
Well,
homework.
it's on the 20th.
Oh, and the answers.
But it's, you should see a sign, it's on,
Copy everything?
so it's on this side, like where we are,
Copy
Yeah.
won't show people though.
right, in the
That's all
back.
right.
Okay.
It'll be a little darker. What?
You're out there.
Because I can't take this, right?
I can get it back.
Oh, that right.
Is this for me?
Yeah, do you like V8s?
You like V8?
I mean, I like it, but suddenly I'm seeing it on my desk. Someone
I
was
had
saying,
some wrong
She got
buttons.
that mistake.
And, I don't like, I only touched the little ones. I was trying to get apple juice, but that was in the spot. So I was
if
trying to,
anyone else wants, you want?
no, they didn't like it. They-
Oh.
So I said, Audie's vegetarian, she might like this.
I like fruit juice and veggie juice, V8.
It's good. But I know I won't drink the whole thing. I can drink a little bit of cans with lime.
Yeah, so we can split in the glass if you want to drink a little bit. No? I was thinking, who left V8 here?
You know what though, it's nice and cold. I think every time I've had it, it's been